Hi Gemma, thanks for joining up with us today. Do you want to tell us how we know each other and what you've been doing with your life for the past few years?
Yeah, so I was at Stafford College a few years ago. I did media production with James and Dave Hastings, Cara, all the most amazing lecturers. They're really cool. So I was there and then left and went to De Montfort University in Leicester, and I did an undergrad in media production. So it was the same kind of course. It was very similar in what we taught there. And I did the undergrad for 3 years and then graduated with a 2-1, and then that was good enough for me to do a master's. So I did the master's at the same uni, De Montfort University. The master's was in international film production, which was awesome because the first semester was based at the uni, but the second semester was based at Pinewood Studios down in London. So every week, me and my classmates got to go travel down to London. We stayed the night and we worked at Pinewood Studios around about the same time that they were doing the new Star Wars film. So that was very exciting. We were able to do a lot of, we were just spying on people most of the time we were there, trying to see if anyone was famous. And yes, I spent my time there. Out of the masters, we created a film. So everyone on the course got a role that you'd see on like a normal kind of like film set. We all pitched for the roles, and thankfully I got the role of director. And then during last summer, we directed our film in Leicester. A screening came out of that. We were able to screen it in Leicester a few months after. And since then, I've decided to stay in Leicester, so I'm still here. And I've got myself a job at a creative design agency. They specialise in sort of like films, animations, design in general. And they're a really, really lovely bunch. I haven't been working there for long. I started in March. So yeah, I'm still getting the grips of it all and learning and taking something away from it all every day. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it.
Wow, what a great journey. Brilliant journey. So you went
Yeah.
from media production to kind of doing it again at a higher level. So what was it that drove you to then specialise as a master's in international film production?
So whilst I was at uni, one of my lecturers, he taught me documentaries in my undergrad, and him and I were speaking, and he was actually sort of the leader of the master's course. We had a little meeting and he said to me that I should definitely apply for this course. You know, it's we've got the semester in Pinewood. He just pitched it to me as like this amazing opportunity. So I went and did an interview. It was a course with only, I think it was 15 people on it. So it was interviewed and then you get your place on the course, and then yeah, that's how I got into it. It was from my lecturer really, but I think if I'd have found the course online, I'd have been interested anyway.
You did your master's as a director as well, which is a great position to come out of that with.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about where you're working then, so the design agency. I know that the COVID outbreak's kind of got in the way of that a little bit, but do you want to tell us what the company is, what your position in the company is, and what sort of stuff you've been doing during lockdown with them?
So I started in March. My job title is production assistant. And they're called Workspace One. They're a creative design agency in Leicester. But obviously, because of coronavirus and just the weird time that everyone's in at the moment, everything's sort of like remote working, remote learning. So yeah, we've just had to manage all of our meetings via Zoom now, which is weird, and I don't know how I feel about it. I'm getting better at video calls, but yeah, in regards to the work's slightly different, but it's, again, we're still producing some really awesome animations and films, so I am really, really loving the position that I'm in at the moment. It's good.
So how are you directly involved in that as a production assistant? What's your sort of day-to-day responsibilities with the animations and with the films?
As a production assistant, I'd say most of the work that I've been doing so far has primarily been sort of like project managing projects that are coming in. So it's not necessarily always film and animation, but it is always design. So it is, I always find it interesting. I like looking at just making sure things that look nice. So there's been a lot of sort of like project managing designs, a lot of admin work, which is good because it sort of makes you feel like you've got your whole life on track as soon as you start getting good at admin. And yeah, so it's sort of like a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions, a lot of ideas. And the people that I work for are so lovely. They're so friendly. It feels very much like a family there. And I've only been working there for 4 months, so it's really good. I'm loving it.
So you've been there for 4 months. You started in March. I'm presuming that you graduated from university back in sort of June, July of 2019. So what did you do between graduating from university and then getting your job?
So the masters that I did, it was meant to finish July, August time. But because of the film that we were doing, our work on the film kind of sort of went over that deadline. And I didn't finish working on the film until early November. So technically I was out of uni, but I was still going into uni to use the library and the computers, and I was still there. So from December to March, the screening was during that time, and I also got myself a little part-time job at a cocktail bar around the corner. So that was where my income was coming from. I was getting drunk a lot of the time, but the film seemed to happen.
And I think that's quite a good experience as well, that courses are always written to fill a certain amount of time, but productions don't always work in that way, right? So it's good that they allowed that to continue over, and that you managed to get it screened rather than them kind of saying, yeah, it's the end of the course, you missed it.
Exactly.
That's not the way that the world really works, is it?
I just like Peter Jackson. He always says, I finish work on a film because I'm out of time, not because I want to finish. Like, he's such a perfectionist. He literally works up until the last second, and then he'll stop working on a film. It's awesome.
So the company that you work with now, how many of you are there at that company?
It's a small company. I'd say maybe there's 6 of us in the office, and then 4 or 5 designers that they work with. It's a small company. It's nice. It's like a little family.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think sometimes there's really nice opportunities with small companies as well, right? When they see what you can bring to the table as well. Yeah. And it can allow that sometimes to influence their direction.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really like working for big companies where you walk in and there's like 50 people sat in a room. It's very kind of I don't know, I find it quite, I get really anxious. I don't like it.
Yeah, it can have that impact. It definitely can. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question that's a bit tricky. Well, some people have found it tricky. You might fly through it. So, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to yourself when you were 15?
I think I'd say to my 15-year-old self, trust yourself. Because throughout the few years of my journey, I've been constantly trying to tell myself that I'm not my own worst enemy. Whereas I used to find it really hard to feel proud of my own work. Whereas now I'm sort of easing into the, not everything has to be perfect. So that's what I'd tell my 15-year-old self. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as you're enjoying it.
Yeah, that's really good advice, I think, and advice that a lot of people, I think, could benefit from. There's a lot of people that come to study media who are perfectionists in many ways, and who are like, I've done the work, but you can't have it, or yeah, I don't want you to look at this. It's like,
people are really embarrassed of their work online. I think sometimes if it's on a computer, they get a bit like, protective.
So thanks a lot for that, Jem. There's been some great advice in there and some really interesting stories with your international filmmaking course and with the job that you're doing. I'm really proud that you came from doing a media course and you're now working in media production. Like a lot of people kind of come through these career routes and they don't see an end goal, or they kind of drift away somewhere along the way, but you've stuck to your guns and you're now working in a field where you get to take all those skills you've learned over 6 years of education after school and put that into practice, and that's really good, and I really look forward to seeing what you're going to do over the next few years.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Jem. I hope you enjoyed that careers talk and that it's opened your eyes to another career in this vast industry. There's more talks on our channel and we're adding to them all the time, so whilst you're here, why not hit the subscribe button? And don't forget to like this video. We'll see you soon.